has to make up their own mind. The car show that we had this weekend, I have no idea what Roritan thinks, but I can see that there'd be a lot of people that would have been very happy to be able to walk up and down the street looking at the cars with a glass or something in their hand.
Right.
But, maybe they
They'll
would.
pay for it.
Yeah, well, yeah, but whether or not Roritan would actually think that's a good thing to do, I don't know. And they're the ones that ought to be coming to us and saying, we think this would benefit our car show, therefore we'd like to ask for permission to do it.
Well, if you enact this, then
That's the way it would be done.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Exactly.
I guess my question is, okay, we're coming down East Park Avenue, we have two churches there.
The churches would be out.
No, that's not what I'm alluding to. Why do we have to come down East Park Avenue? Is it because of the tasting room, or?
The production facility.
Actually, I think you said you need to have 5.
No, it's 4.
4 total, so
Yeah.
our production facility would be the class, the license needed on that, and.
No, actually, your production facility
So,
isn't required.
actually, the reason why the production facility was included,
No, there's already Shell, Bella's,
there's
Uptown.
the reason why that was included actually was at your suggestion.
Yeah, I know that, I suggested it was something that you might want to include.
Right. So, that's why.
Ideally, I mean, I would suggest, because there's a lot of houses on that street, and the churches, obviously, if we were to include it, that, maybe we just get permission for brewery tours. We get a lot of tourism, into Columbiana, from Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and all over the country coming. They're brewery travelers, when they go visit breweries, so be able to take a group of people from the taste room, show them around the taste room, our one barrel production facility, and then walk them down to our other production facility and give them a tour. It would be a benefit to us.
And you can see that, you guys,
And for parking.
I was gonna say, you also didn't take the, back street.
Again, it's a stepping stone.
That's not what I'm saying, I mean, you did this so that it's in a controlled way.
Yes, yeah.
Where you wouldn't have to watch the front and back of your
Right.
buildings, just the front.
Yes.
It seems to me that the people that are gonna benefit the most are you two.
That's no denying. We hope that it benefits everyone, though.
The hope is to draw more foot traffic into the city. And if you draw more foot traffic into the city, hopefully other vendors are gonna prosper too.
Well,
If nothing else, people are gonna see Columbiana.
yeah, we have a number of open storefronts right now that aren't occupied by anybody. And something like this could potentially attract people to say, oh, this would be a great place to open a business because look at the kinds of people that come here and when these things happen. I'm not convinced yet that this is the right thing for us to do, but, I think it probably deserves our consideration.
What kind of draw do you think it'll be from out of town?
And I can't answer that. I wish I could.
I do.
So I'll just say that, so Sundog opened up, July 7th.
Okay.
And I advertised into Cleveland and into Pittsburgh, and we had cars of people from Cleveland, we had people that came in from past Pittsburgh, like 20 minutes past Pittsburgh. We had a bunch of people in from Florida last week, and people I've never seen, like, between having the pet store for as long as I did, and then now this, like, I've grown to learn a lot of the local people, and it wasn't local faces.
Okay. I mean, just kind of, got a little local brewery here, you got a little local winery here. How much does that draw from the surrounding area that we can draw people into this community?
Well, the way that you gotta look at it also is like the Saturday stuff that we have on the alley there on Main Street.
Right.
We do once a month. It may bring people that either come to that or stay longer that are already there. I mean, some of it could be nebulous and very, very hard to manage, especially if, it's only done on times when there's already a special event, because normally special events are already bringing people in. May bring more, may keep them longer, may make them go shopping in the store, who knows, but.
You might bring her husband, he can stay, right?
Or he could just shop right with her.
Yeah, that's right.
I think Dick McBain is saying the key thing is, this is about keeping our downtown, keeping it viable and meaningful, and that's crucial to this community, that we keep the downtown. So that's how I'm hearing this discussion.
Yes.
So all the vendors that I've talked to downtown say, find a way to increase foot traffic. Find a way to increase foot traffic. This is a way to do it. Will it work? I have no idea. I saw it work in Florida when I lived there. It worked. They had a setup that, and it was blocks and blocks and blocks. And they had just a party out of it. And I honestly don't ever remember there being a problem with police really had to get involved, and there were kids all over the place. It was a family thing.
Right.
Art shows and things like that.
And that's just the same thing that, the city of Canton told me today. So he said in 2 years they haven't had any issue.
The other thing for council to remember is that you already have something similar to this at the town center. I mean, you're already allowed to walk out of Homestead and walk within the contained area there. We haven't had any issues.
Is that included in Homestead's liquor license, that area?
Yes.
That's correct. It's a defined space,
Yeah.
And we're not gonna go in the other businesses though, right?
no.
But we haven't had any issues there.
We've had zero problems at all, and they've worked very well with us and used our people on occasion for the bigger events. We haven't had, that I'm aware of, any major incidents of loss.
Yeah, I'm just saying, it's something that, it's already happening, and it's happening here, so if you don't do it here, you can still go over there and do it, and let people come on and do it.
You're over the downtown there.
Talk to me about your brewery closures again. Run us through that again. So the East Park Avenue up past the Presbyterian Church and whatever,
Right. So if we, obviously our future tasting room on Park Avenue isn't open currently, but we're producing beer on a production system. So and we're not sure exact timeline of when the new tasting, we have a lot of work to do down there. So if we're able to invite people to start the tour at the tasting room where we have beer, take them down Park Avenue, and maybe even talk about the history of Columbiana and how we started on the way down with the beer in hand, taking to the production facility, and,
Okay.
I mean, that's just, it's, I think Cleveland does something similar, the Great Lakes Brewing Company does something similar, where you get a beer on the tour, kind of thing, with the tour, the tour fee, something like that.
But don't you already have the licensure, to be able to give them beer on premises?
Yeah, down low, yes. But we'd also talk about the one barrel production facility and how we started up on Main Street. I think there's a lot of people that are interested in the smaller production as well. And then, taking down to the other facility. It's just a thought, I mean, I don't know.
Comment from the audience?
Lance, you're probably planning on talking about more of this in your managers report.
Yeah, I was just gonna mention, I can, right now.
I think it might be appropriate to cover that now instead of later.
You got a question with Robert Schwartz over here.
Do you mind if I just make a comment? I just wanted to say, I think it benefits the local businesses as much, if not more, than even these guys. It gives us the opportunity to get that foot traffic and stay open more hours. I think these empty businesses are gonna attract new businesses in, create jobs. I mean, I can't see how it can't be a win for a business that wants to participate in this. If they don't want to, they don't have to. And the control that the council has over it just makes it, you can turn it on and off however we have to.
Yeah, so, thanks to Gladys for, you know, making all the calls to, Division of Liquor Control. Chief Gladys also, spoke to the, police departments of Hilliard and Worthington who did this last year. They put in the doors, there. Now, those doors have the outside seating, but, you know, ours would not. But, the chief did report that there's been no major, issues at all with those two doors. We also, made contact with the city of Canton. I'm not sure that they've called us back yet, but, you know, to try to learn some more from them. And the other one is just to talk about the other idea I had in here, Mark already covered as far as the Division of Liquor Control rules and regulations, you know, as far as, just really concentrating on the sale of it, not the consumption, so.
Procedurally, we've been asked to consider legislation by two citizens of the community. According to the charter, council is permitted to do that, and if we choose to, you know, we give instructions to go ahead and start drafting of legislation within parameters that we've set. It requires a motion and a second, obviously, to do that consideration. It only requires 3 votes, it doesn't require 4 votes to move it forward. And it's only a vote to consider drafting the legislation, it's not a vote to approve the door. So, at this point, I think it would be opportune to see if anyone is interested in making such a motion and making a second. If it can either die in the house and die in the motion in a second, or it can die if it doesn't get 3 votes to consider drafting the legislation.
I'll make the motion that we have this legislation drafted for council consideration. I'll second that motion.
I'd like to have a lot more discussion about this, or really make a hard, firm decision on, you know, which way it goes, what's going on. It was brought up with this cup idea, but it's one cup, and I can't carry my cup from your business to your business, so how are you gonna distinguish what's going on there?
That would all be in the legislation that you guys come up with. It would all be in the language.
Well, there's gonna
and
be
we
4
would
businesses,
abide by
you
it.
could have four colored cups.
Yeah. I mean,
We could mirror the other you know, the, Worthingtons, Cantons, and, Hilliard. They spell it out all in that, presentation.
I think I was kind of expecting to have examples of that legislation from these other organizations here tonight. Being told that this was going to be presented to us, I expected to have more hard facts about how it's written and how it's working for other communities without, you know, for us to go, I want legislation drawn up. I'm not comfortable personally saying, yeah, I want to move forward with legislation being drawn up, because we really haven't established up here what we want it to be.
Well, all we're doing is we're asking for the legislation to be drawn. We're not even passing it on to anyone.
Right, but what are
getting
the
that done?
minimum requirements
Actually, an
that are going to be in
application.
there?
Yeah, I did not want to fill out all this just simply for you to say, well, we're not interested. It's a lot of work. Mark and Chief and I already spent probably 5-6 hours of our time making phone calls and researching it. So, if it's a, you know, if you want us to spend some more time on it, I can show you exactly, you know, what the application would look like, what the signs would look like, and I can start doing that. But, you know, even in my notes, the notes that I gave you are from 2017, because I didn't even want to spend time on it if we're not gonna, you know, do anything else with it, so. You know, in my manager report, so.
It's an application process, correct?
Correct.
So it's not formally an ordinance that would be drafted. It would be giving council will be giving you guys permission to apply.
It's,
There is legislation.
from my reading, it's an application to council that can come from, because it goes to the legislative body, that's council, from, the city manager. So we can put together what the application is that could be considered by council, and the mayor's right, that is not really an ordinance. That's not what you're passing.
It says in the state law that we adopt an ordinance or resolution as applicable, and it covers a whole bunch of things that we have to cover.
Right, but it's an application process that then results in
the
a resolution or an ordinance.
Right.
So the first step would be an application, and from my reading of it, that would come from the city manager. So we can put together an application that's then presented to council, which at that point, we can then, can then vote on, okay, here's a resolution or an ordinance.
And we could modify that application.
Absolutely.
As we feel is appropriate.
Right. Yeah, once that application is approved by council, we're then going to have, publication of notice, and that notice is of a public hearing. So, you will have the opportunity to hear what people that may not be sitting here tonight think about the idea. So, and that is before you necessarily approve the application going to the state, to, Department of Liquor Control.
Okay, so maybe I misunderstood your motion. I thought you made a motion to have a rough draft of ordinances drawn up for us to look
I
at.
think we're talking about the application.
Yeah, that's what comes first.
Any other questions?
Yeah, about that.
Go ahead.
As a citizen, I think it's a great idea. As the manager of the street fair, I thought that's a bad idea, as long as it's contained within the sponsoring organization's event. So you can't have another organization say, we're gonna run an event during the fair, and we want to enforce, or get council to approve the DORA, because from currently, and moving forward still, street fair is an alcohol-free event for families and everything else, so as it stands, as a leash member of the manager of the fair, the DORA would not be used for any, obviously not this year, but moving forward as well. So I will put a stamp on that, so that's not even a question or a concern that anybody has to worry about, that we wouldn't be enacting it for that event.
Yeah, there's been, I live across the street, there's been nothing but disrespect since this process whole started. The 3 times I've had to call the police because of the welding truck that didn't get shut off, and I was told by an officer, don't worry about it, I'm friends of theirs, I'll get it off. 30 minutes later, I had to call back again because the welding truck didn't get shut off and get moved around to the side of the building. So is this good old boy network gonna keep me up all night? Because, oh, we know him, it's okay?
Can you state your name and address?
Yeah, Nicholas Cossey at 139 East Park Avenue. And then I had to call a 3rd time because of all the noise. Some of us don't live this lifestyle, and I had to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock at night. There's no way. So there has been no respect extended from this whole process from the beginning to the residents across the street. And I realize money drives everything, but if none of you live across the street and have to put up with that after 9 o'clock, then come stay at my house when this is going on with these special events.
Okay. Noted. I'm sorry, I couldn't see.
Yeah. I live next door to Nick, Gary Russell, 135 East Park. They moved their facility in there. I didn't know what was going in there. I wasn't notified by anyone. That's a car dealership. I believe it's zoned for a car dealership. I'm not too sure, but I believe you have to change the zoning to get it in there. Why wasn't I notified? I built a garage. You guys got on my neighbor's letters that I was building a garage. We can move a brewery in there and sells and manufactures. you didn't notify me at all? That's my first question.
We didn't change zoning for that.
You didn't?
No.
So then your zoning, I read your zoning in your online. That's specifically for automotive. There's a zoning code for automotive. So you're saying you can use that same code?
I believe what the zoning code is automotive intensive, which means.
Right.
Intensive commercial, which would be a C4.
And it's not for an automotive company, it means it has a high degree of automotive traffic to it. So, for instance, where Rite Aid is, that's, considered automotive intensive too, is that recall?
Yeah, I think it is.
Well, anyway,
C4 is an intensive, C4 zoning is intensive commercial, so it's your higher use type things. By way of example, automotive dealerships that bring in a lot of traffic. And that's really, it's just titled automotive, and other intensive use.
Says intensive and automotive-oriented commercial district. That would tell me that it has to have something to do with automotive. No?
No.
You're saying it's a tracking on past automotive?
No. It's, when you look at zoning, especially in commercial zoning, you start with lighter commercial uses such as offices. You then go to maybe retail. C4 is kind of the highest level of commercial, and it allows things such as to include automobile dealerships.
It would include any type of commercial business. The next step up from that would be light industrial.
You would be into industrial, correct.
Well, then what's his zoning on his place on Main Street?
I think it's C1 or C3. C3.
Okay, so that's C1, and where he's at right now is C4, and that's okay.
Yes, sir. He's in a C3 on Main Street from looking at the map.
Yes.
Central Business District, C3.
Right.
Okay, my second comment is, I don't see how walking around with an open beer container is going to draw people to our community. I think you need to focus on what events you're going to be running. What events are you planning?
As far as to allow the alcohol?
Yeah. In other words, when you run these door projects,
We haven't even gotten.
you're going to
that
have
far.
something planned for it, I would imagine, to
No,
draw people in.
So our background is marketing. So, but we haven't even gotten that far because we just want to see.
You ever
we're
thought
trying
about
to-
that?
We're trying to do, no, we absolutely have, but we're trying to do our due diligence.
Hey, we don't need to have discussion back
sorry.
and forth at this point. Your concern is noted.
Just to kind of answer the question though, these aren't necessarily events that are being planned by the vendors, these are events that are being planned by other organizations such as potentially the Chamber of Commerce or others, where they would come to the council and ask for the door to be in operation. The vendors of the alcoholic beverages aren't the ones who'd be approaching council to have the door come be allowed.
Is that right? Is that right for you?
That's not the language that I read online, but.
No, what I'm saying though is that the event, you're not saying they have your own separate events where people would be walking around on Main Street with the alcohol, what I understood. If I'm wrong, let me know.
Well, I mean, if we were doing an event with all 4 permit holders, that we included all of the vendors in, I would think that like, so if Main Street Shop wanted to have an event, she couldn't have an event and ask you guys?
Yes, she could, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess we just have to see what's written, really, for.
Yeah, I think we're bantering. Let's call for the roll.
Prepare.
Can I call for the roll, please?
We're gonna make them special.
What's that?
Sit down.
Well, we cleared out the roll.
You can sit down.
That's okay. You want to stand, it's fine.
Go ahead.
The motion was worded to draft the legislation, just to be clear. That was how it was worded.
You wanna amend your motion to prepare receive the application?
Yeah, it should be application.
Okay, explain to me what we're doing, what we're voting on here. So this is clear.
Whether to tell Lance to prepare an application for you guys to discuss and look at a month from now.
Not necessarily a month, but I'd say 2, 3 months.
In the future.
In the future.
Okay. So if we wanna have further discussion on this.
There will be.
It will come once the application,
Okay.
And at that point, you can have a discussion on reality versus nebulous.
What if, so,
Yeah.
okay.
We'll have a lot more information then.
Does Rick need to second the
I change the application.
Souter,
I'll look at it further, yes.
McBain,
yes.
Lucer,
Yes.
Vogt. Yes. Miller,
Yes.
Becker,
No.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
You are?
We'll move into the, manager's update.
So, since the last meeting, we were contacted by, Columbiana Land Bank. Basically, they've worked in other communities, specifically East Liverpool and Salem in the past several years, tearing down structures. So we have an opportunity, for the first time to, submit some property. And you may have read the newspaper article on the weekend. We were one of those cities that they asked, and we currently do not have any, willing participants to, want to submit the application. So I put a, kind of a PSA out in the papers, today, it should be in the paper tomorrow, asking any residents or business owners that want to participate in getting their structure torn down. And as the paper said, and as this letter said, that the property would actually have to be transferred into the land bank's name in order for them to do that. So there may be somebody out there that we don't know that, you know, has a structure on their property, and it's been a burden to them, you know, and a safety factor for them. We just don't, you know, it's overwhelming them. And if they come forward within the next few days, we can put them on our list and submit that. So hopefully that gets in the paper, and, you know, if there's any residents out there that want to do that, I'll be happy to take that call. Let's see, we did open up the bids for the fire station sewer, and that is on the agenda tonight. We did get a letter of recommendation from House and Bear. City Hall here, we did put an HVA unit for the police department on the roof a couple weeks ago, and also another unit in the chief's office. To give you a report on the water plant, the startup was June 23rd. We've got a 30-day trial period that we're working on right now. And the plant's running really well. The old plant's being actually taken out of service very soon. Actually, they've even started the demolition this week. So I would like to hold some type of ribbon cutting ceremony for that. Want to give me some ideas, you know, when you want it to be. You want it to be a Friday afternoon. We're thinking after street fair, because we'll out there, until then. So, have any recommendations, you can even let me know next meeting, or I can try to come up with a proposed date, but there's gonna be, the plant is pretty much finished, and they're just, pretty much cleaning up and doing a little bit of the, software, updates right now, so. Other than that, if you have a specific date, you can let me know. Construction on the Fairfield Avenue sidewalk is complete. We do have they did complete their punch list, last, on 13th, Friday 13th. And if there's any other concerns, we'll go take one more walk through and make sure that they get it, but it'll be minor. If you've been out to the, fire station, they've got the split face blocks up, it's very nice. I did mention, in previous manager's report that I did do another electric rate study, and we should be getting the results back any day now, and I've invited the consultants to come to the August 21st meeting. The July 6th festivities, for Firestones went, very well. I'd like to thank, all the city departments for working together to make this event, a success. It was great. Really want to specifically thank the park help for getting it ready. It was amazing how good it looked 2 days after all those, 10,000 visitors for fireworks. So we're really proud of that, and again, everybody really pitched in. We did a lot of different things around town to spruce it up. I have a funny story, you might get mad at me, but I think Vic was involved in this conversation. We had to replace some sod throughout the city. It had been killed over the winter, and we wanted to make it look nice and even up at the park. So we got it all done. We had Extreme Landscape do it. And then at the Homestead event, that George walked up to me and he goes, "Yeah, I couldn't get any other sod, so he took it out of his front yard." I'm like, that is a dedicated man. Oh my gosh. So,
we'll go take it back.
We really appreciate that, and they did do a lot for us, and, you know, we've done stuff that we, haven't done before. We made some, low maintenance changes. If you look out at the pool where the flags are, you know, that's all stoned in there, so we can, not have to worry about weeds much anymore, so that's good. Did a lot of work at the entrance of the memorial, so, yeah, it was nice. Let's see, so in the paper you saw about the, resource officer, Superintendent Mook approached, Chief and I about that. I do have, legislation on the agenda, because of the tight deadline, and, the Chief and I reviewed all the agreements and terms, and we're comfortable with it, and we look forward to, working with them. The street department, you probably saw them hauling grindings, early this morning. They started milling today, and, they should be done probably, if not this week, a little bit next week, and then we'll be getting out there and paving, the week of the 23rd. Water department, again, I've been telling you about the dig locates. We've had 52 Ohio utility protection digs since, last meeting. Lots going on in the city. So the water, sewer, and electric have to go out to each one of those sites and okay it. We've been working on decommissioning the old plant, moving the old files, moving, old equipment over to the new site. EPA performed a full site survey, and they had some initial concerns, but we were able to address those by the end of that week that they were there. One of them included pouring a concrete splash pad at the base of the 1 million gallon tank. see, the wastewater plant, we've changed out some, sensors at the plant, and our sewer machine is up in Twinsburg right now being reworked, and we do have a couple backup plans if something would go wrong now. Park and Cemetery, I again thank all their, efforts. They had 800 swimmers on 4th of July, and it was busy there. Do you remember how hot it was? Oh my gosh. So, they had 1,242 this last weekend, so a lot of people are using the pool. The Alcohol Drug Abuse Prevention Team, ADAPT Coalition, held a family fun day at the Bend Park since the last meeting. Electric Department, we contracted out, a large cutout project. It's work being done on, utility poles. I believe it's about 50 of them, and, should increase, dependability on that line. And they're also, adding, animal protection 2 different ways on the line and the animal guards that we've used in the past. Thank them for, hanging the banner for the car show, and, they also helped run the generator during, load shedding events that, we were talking about. Let's see, I think the only other thing that I've been talking about since we had talked about the idea of the tax cap idea, I spoke to Tad Howard of Economic Development, and they told us about a program that's already in existence. It's called CRA. And it's, basically, it's very similar to an enterprise zone, where there's basically a tax abatement, for new builds, and council, if you did consider that, you could do it for residential, new builds, you can do it for residential construction. So if somebody were to put a sunroom on the back of their house, for example, $20,000, sunroom, I think it has to be over $1,500. If they make improvements to their property that would raise their property value at all, or in a sense, raise their taxes, if we introduce this, CRA, they could get basically a tax abatement on that difference of the, appraised value for renovations of homes. So you can do it for, as I said, the new residents, residential construction, commercial construction, and, industrial, which we've already gotten it for, the enterprise zone. It would work for the Mahoney County portion as well as the Columbiana County portion of the city if it crosses that line. I looked around, since we met last, the village of East Palestine's been doing that since 2003. We did reach out to them. All the houses that they have built, participate in it. And they currently have 2 agreements, and they're available online for some, I did not ask them specifically about this, but, it was a commercial project, $800,000 commercial project, I believe it was. I also contacted the city of Alliance, who chose to, a la carte, they just chose to pick out the commercial aspect of it. They did not do the residential. Over 100 communities throughout the, Ohio have done it, and that is, some of them include, I did put some calls in, but I haven't heard back, Kent, Hudson, Twinsburg were a few, and Worcester also did it. So I did, give you a little bit of information in your packet, and that is about the, basically a rundown of what East Palestine's project, looks like. It's exactly what it is. They actually sent it to me. So, you guys want to, yeah, Salem, I'm not sure about Canfield, but, yeah, Salem's had it, actually, they've had it, prior to 1994. I think they were one of the original ones, so. So in your packet, the, East Palestine's, write up their community reinvestment area. It's real property tax exemption for building a new home. Theirs happens to be a 5-year, 100%. Remodeling is 100% for 10 years. And then the commercial and industrial projects would be a case by case, and they would be, presented to council, each one of those. And then, there's certain restrictions, just like, the, enterprise zone, where if it's over so many years and so much of a percent, then you'd have to check with the schools.
When we did the enterprise zone, we had to stop at the county line, right?
Yeah, and we do not have to do that, in this case. This is basically it's a state program, and, you know, so it's available throughout.
So this could be used to help incent maybe some development on lakefront property.
Yeah, lakefront was, I thought it was a really good example of what it could help.
Any comments on this?
I'd like to comment just directly on that. Are you finished with your?
Yeah, that's it. That's all I had. That's the last thing I had.
The, Community Reinvestment Act, I would just like to add to the group that I had an opportunity to talk to Pat Harold, which, the County Economic Development Director, who, you know, kind of put us onto this program. And I'd personally like to say that I think this could be a good asset for Columbiana and its development as we grow. Now that our water plant is built, we have the infrastructure available to deal with, the growth, and I think it's very important that we take a look at these types of programs. I think it would be beneficial in the development of Columbiana, and, I, for one, would like to see us move forward on this.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a lot of opportunity here to, influence development, you know, even the idea that someone putting an addition on their home can take advantage of this to some degree. Exactly how all the numbers work, that's a whole, something you gotta figure out, but, I think it would be beneficial to the community. I think we could see a lot of improvement in a lot of areas, and people may decide to spend money that they otherwise wouldn't spend on their home, if something like this is available.
I think this is a little bit, more fair than the other tax stuff that we had presented as ideas for, people who only have a certain income and higher. Lance, correct me if I'm wrong, you said the minimum would be $1,500.
Yeah, I believe it was $1,500. Yeah.
The minimum is
$2,500. Okay. Yeah, $2,500.
So, I mean, that's a lot more attainable for a bigger percentage of our citizens in the community, and I like looking at this option definitely.
There really is no downside. If nobody participates, it's status quo. If somebody participates, then we're gonna get something.
Yeah, and for 10 years or 5 years or whatever we set the limit on the different classes, you know, we don't necessarily get the tax breaks, but once that time frame is over, we do.
Yeah, but once they build though, now you're gonna start getting, taxes,
In the future.
employment taxes, stuff like that.
Right.
So those taxes will come right away.
See, I think it looked a whole lot more positive. I got a breakdown from Mike and really appreciate this, and it's been quite a while now. But only 7% of our community is in the 40,000 to 50,000 bracket. 8% of our community is, between 50 and 60. 12% is 60 to 75. And then you start to jump 75 to 100,000, there's 11%. So if we were looking at that other statistically low working lease, this takes care of the the folks that are still down the line and a little bit leaner and wouldn't be able to say, afford what we're seeing now is the $200,000 home. So, but they might be able to, pick a home up for a reasonable cost and still be able to do some improvements. So it's a way better program than what I've seen before.
Or if you look at your building and zoning permit report, $2,500, I think goes very far. Yeah, there is one here, I think, for a shed, for storage building, $3,000. There's a storage building for $4,000. Siding, $10,000. Yeah.
So I just found this article that, I don't know if you've been downtown Worcester lately, but they've done a lot of improvements. So a business purchase, if somebody purchased a $400,000 building and invests $400,000 in it, the improved building would, while expanding its payroll, increasing its value to $800,000 with the CRA program. Business, with a 75% abatement would only be assessed for the $500,000 from the property instead of the full $800,000. And then, again, you can work, council review it, able, just like the enterprise, but, the work out the years and terms.
Would this be an appropriate time to possibly move to, prepare an ordinance?
Sure.
To be considered? So I do move to prepare an ordinance, to enact this community reinvestment area for the city of Columbiana.
I'll second.
Any comment?
With that, are we doing residential, commercial, industrial, the whole deal?
I think we should. I think we should be very aggressive with the purpose, in my opinion.
I think we already covered the industrial. I think the residential, commercial, we definitely need to do something about.
I didn't know if we needed to.
And I don't, if we need to do something with the industrial, that's fine, but I don't know that we need to.
That's fine.
Well, the industrial's not covered in Mahoning County.
Right.
It's covered in Columbiana County.
Very good point.
That's a very good point.
And we have no commercial in Mahoney County either with that.
As long as it doesn't get doubled up somehow.
Sure.
We have to give money back.
Yeah, no,
Well, on the commercial and industrial side, it's on a case-by-case basis approved by council anyway.
Well, that's true.
But, I mean, you can have them all and have the tool if you need it.
And this too is just another application process. I mean, we have to get, it's gonna be a long, I think that the enterprise zone took us 7 months, right? I think we started on it in May, and we're done by December, so this too is, gonna take some time.
I thought you said that it didn't stop at a county line.
Correct.
That's what he said.
Okay.
But the current one does.
The enterprise
Okay.
does.
Yeah, okay, well, that's why
This
this is much more advantageable than what, the enterprise would be.
Right, right.
Yeah, I just like to add appreciation for the communication between Tad, telling us about it.
I don't think we communicated. The enterprise is already enacted.
Correct.
For Columbiana County, though.
That's right, but, okay.
This would cover the
Yeah, I
entire.
thought Dan-
blankets everywhere.
Okay, but I thought Dan was saying that this was better than the enterprise, like the enterprise wasn't already in. The enterprise is locked down.
It is, but because it can go across the county line, and we have annexed part of Mahoney County.
But this is another
Yes.
altogether.
The other difference is the enterprise zone required commissioners to be the list of not. That's why we stopped at the Mahoney County line, so we'd have 2 counties where the commissioners stood.
Do we have any industrial zones in Mahoney County?
Right now.
I didn't think we did.
Any other comments?
Yeah, I'd like to just throw something else into this. I can see with this enacted, some of this farmland, to the north starts to be developed. You start getting requests to have these places connected to the city. So I can see growth there. The benefit, if some of somebody bought a pasture out there and decided they wanted to build houses. And, the next thing into the city and being able to offer this to the people that are building houses there, that'd be a big selling point.
That'd be huge.
Yeah, see that happen.
Roll, please.
Anthony?
Yes.
Woodson?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Becker?
Yes.
Sauber?
Yes.
Did you go over the bid results for the stump grinding and sand sewer extensions, or is those, we're gonna vote on those later?
Yeah, I wasn't gonna go over them.
That's fine. You received the, bill list for July 17th, any comments on it? Hearing none, we'll move into old business, due to length of the ordinance, can I have a motion to read them by title only?
So moved.
Second. Yep.
Roll call?
Woodson?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Yes.
Sauber?
Yes.
Anthony?
Yes. Ordinance number 18-0-2971, second reading. An ordinance providing for the issuance and sale of bonds in the maximum principal amount of $625,000 for the purpose of paying costs of constructing, furnishing, equipping, and otherwise improving a new city fire station and its site. So moved.
Second.
Any comment? A roll call?
Clark?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Becker?
Yes.
Sauber?
Yes.
Anthony?
Yes.
Woodson?
Yes.
Moving on to, new business, can I have a, motion to read the next four items as an emergency?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Noel?
Yes.
Becker?
Yes.
Sauber?
Yes.
Anthony?
Yes.
Woodson?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Resolution number 18-R-525, emergency. An emergency resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a memorandum of understanding and to accept monies from the Columbiana Exempted Village School District to be used exclusively for wages and related benefits to permit the City of Columbiana Police Department to assign a school resource officer at the district schools.
So moved.
Second.
Any comment?
Chief, when our officer is working for the school district, is his retirement taken out of STRS or is he still PERS?
He would still be, police and fire,
Okay.
Ohio Police and Fire.
All right.
Everything comes through us, and simply, it's basically a reimbursement.
He's our employee.
He's our employee, he's in the police department chain of command, he's a police officer.
And when he's not during the school year, he will be a police officer on our force.
And don't forget, when the school is not in session, then he would work the street and whatever assignment we place him.
Thought it was interesting, Columbiana Schools was on Fox News this morning, Newsweek yesterday, on, the action that the school board took with that new device they put in the schools.
Yes, this is interesting, this is a piece of a number of things we've been discussing for probably a year. Something you may or may not know, and I don't mean to take up a lot more time, but between 2000 and 2017, Ohio ranks number 2 in the nation in school shootings, behind only California, and only behind them by 1. And so, you know, we need to do everything we can to make the schools as safe as possible.
Any other comments? Roll call?
Becker?
Yes.
Sauber?
Yes.
Anthony?
Yes.
Woodson?
Yes.
Clark? Yes.
Yes.
Ordinance number 18-0-2974, emergency. An emergency ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Yeri and Brothers Construction, Inc. of New Waterford, Ohio, for furnishing of all labor, materials, and equipment necessary for the Metz Road Sanitary Sewer Extension Project.
So moved.
Second.
Comments?
How many feet of sewer we putting in?
I believe it's about 750 feet, but the more important thing is we gotta go underneath the railroad tracks.
Oh.
Is this the same company that didn't work on, Radcliffe?
I don't believe so. No, definitely not. They've done some work in town, but not there.
Any comments? A roll call?
Yes.
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 Ordinance number 18-0-2975, emergency. An emergency ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Mike's Tree and Landscape LLC, 800 West Baton Street, Alliance, Ohio, 44601, for the furnishing of tree pruning for the city of Columbiana.
So moved.
Any comments? A roll call?
Do they call them pruning, just trimming, or if the tree's dead, it's gone? Or what do they call them, pruning?
I think that's the next one, tree removal.
Pruning the ground?
Tree
Okay.
removal, tree removal, second.
Okay.
A roll call?
Yes.
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 Ordinance number 18-0-2976, emergency. An emergency ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Mike's Tree and Landscape LLC, 800 West Baton Street, Alliance, Ohio, 44601, for the furnishing of tree removal and stump grinding for the city of Columbiana.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments? Roll call?
Yes.
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 Ordinance number 18-0-2977, first reading. An ordinance setting a salary and establishing a position and other conditions of employment for the city manager of the city of Columbiana.
Second.
Any comments? A roll call?
Yes.
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 Is there any, public comments this evening? Come on up. Just state your name and address for the record.
My name's Dwayne Bender, I live at 405 Metz Road, and they put sidewalks in front of my house. And I spoke to, Jesse, the head of the street department, yesterday or the day before, and asked him about who's responsible to take care of the sidewalks if somebody falls on them, who's responsible. And the reason I asked is when they put them in, they made a big deal about putting a drain in my front yard. And then they ran the sidewalks and tapered them away from the drain, and now water lays on the sidewalk. Winter comes, it's gonna be an ice rink.
Gotcha.
At the other end of my property, there was a basin that they was gonna go over the sidewalk. So they put in a new basin, about 8 or 10 feet back, tied it all together, and they put a grate over the old basin and cemented around it. The other day when it was raining real hard, there was about an inch of water puddling there, not getting to the drain. When the winter comes, it's gonna be an ice rink. And I don't know, according to Jesse, he said I was responsible to keep that clean.
So, I mean, in the case of the puddling, I mean, if there's still work to be done, we can go back out there and take a look at it.
Cafeteria sidewalks are really working. I have videos if you'd like to see them on my phone.
Yeah, I can have Jesse contact you and they would have the engineer come back out and take a look at it.
Well, they were out several times. I've retired now and they were pretty much all the time. And when they put them in, and I seen it was that way, I asked, I guess it was the guy in charge, who drove around the Chevy pickup.
Right.
And he said, well, on the drawings, they showed it going slope one way on one page and slope the other way on another page. Well, my thought is if someone drew them that way, aren't they responsible to refund the city for the money and have it fixed correctly?
If we develop a hazard, we'll get it fixed.
Then the next thing they told me was, well, we're gonna put a drain on the other side by the street. And then a week or two after that, we're just gonna be able to go like this. Yeah. And when they put in the sidewalk, it has a 1/4 inch drop for every foot of width that's 5 foot wide. So it drops 1 1/4 inches. Well, if they would have started at the higher elevation like they should have, and dropped it down 1 1/4 inches, it would have came down almost perfectly smooth with my front yard. Well, they went the other way, so now my front yard, the sidewalk's about this high above my yard, they put dirt out about that far. So now I got this nice ramp, but I gotta push my lawnmower over all the time. It's just, my big concern is in the winter, it's gonna be a nice winter.
Sir, do you think you could talk to these gentlemen with the city, explain your situation, and then if you have an issue, come back next month and let us know how the city did in trying to resolve your issues?
Well, Jesse's been very good, and he comes coming out there, but I don't know how much authority he has over it and has his own work.
That's what I'm trying to say. We appreciate your comments, and we want to resolve your issues. I'd like to see them get a chance to really go out there and try to resolve your issues.
And I've seen some pretty silly things at the corner of Fairfield and Betts Road. We have a telephone pole in the middle of the sidewalk. Now, the first time a car hits it and posts it off, you're gonna have to tear up the sidewalk, put it in the telephone pole. What kind of logic is that?
Before you leave, can you leave your name and number with Lance? We can do it, the work be done here in just a couple of minutes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So no one answered this question, who's responsible for the sidewalks if someone gets hurt?
Lance stated that if we create a hazard, the city will fix it.
So that goes for everywhere, any sidewalk in town?
It was just put in? He's talking about that sidewalk that was just installed.
Right, I understand, sir, but his initial question was, if someone is on the sidewalk and falls, who is responsible? That is a good question.
It's homeowner.
So we have to de-ice and de-snow the sidewalks in town.
That's the ordinance.
Yes.
As written.
That was your initial question, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments? Any council comments?
I don't remember what organization it was, but, read that an organization rated restaurants throughout the United States, that shows one restaurant in each state is the #1 restaurant, and Dutch House got for a high. So, Barry, doing something right. Very good.
Well, the other thing is too, I think, the Firestone event, I'll call it that. I saw a lot of our, officials that, did a great job, very professional. I don't think it could have been done any better. I think our town stood up, and just tremendously did a great job. You know, everyone pitches in. and that's the way this town operates and the way it always should be. So, for all of the citizens, for those of you serving on council, for all of our superintendents and our park people and everyone else that joined into that, kudos and much thanks.
Motion to adjourn. So moved.